There are Japanese cars running on American soil right now, paid for with your tax dollars, that you are legally banned from buying. Not because they're unsafe, not because they pollute, because the rules say so. The same rules the government doesn't apply to itself. Most people assume import restrictions exist for a reason. Safety, emissions, whatever. And sure, sometimes that's true. But here's what nobody talks about. The US government has been quietly importing, deploying, and running Japanese vehicles that private citizens can't legally own. Military fleets, federal agencies, diplomatic missions. Some of these have been in service for decades. So today, 6 Japanese cars the government uses while you wait on a 25-year import clock that was probably designed to make you give up. Number 6. Toyota Land Cruiser 70 Series. US military, USAID fleets. If you've ever watched footage of American military or aid operations in Africa or the Middle East and spotted a white SUV in the background, that's almost certainly a Land Cruiser 70. Toyota has been building this exact truck since 1984. Same basic chassis, same philosophy, because nobody's given them a reason to stop. USAID fleets run it in conflict zones. Diplomatic missions use it where roads are more of a suggestion than a surface. The UN, which the US funds significantly, has basically standardized on it for humanitarian operations worldwide. Why? Solid axle, mechanical diesel, a chassis local mechanics can fix with parts machined from scratch in the middle of nowhere. Can you buy one in the US? No. Never been certified for US roads. Closest you're getting is a gray market import after the 25-year rule, and by then, it's already been through 2 war zones. But that's just the truck. The next one is a van, and the story gets weirder. Number 5. Toyota HiAce Super Long, USAF. Base logistics, U.S. territories. The HiAce Super Long looks like someone stretched a regular van and said a little more. It's enormous, boxy, and has all the visual charisma of a storage unit. It is also everywhere in U.S. government logistics. On USAF bases across the Pacific, in Guam and Puerto Rico. Moving personnel, moving equipment, moving whatever needs to move without anyone asking questions. Toyota builds these to commercial fleet standards, tested for 300,000 plus mile duty cycles before they leave the factory spec sheet. In the continental US, you cannot buy a full-size HiAce. What Toyota sells here instead is smaller, softer, and, I'll be honest, not the same vehicle. At all. Number 4. Nissan Patrol Y61. US Embassy Fleets, Pacific Command. In 2019, a Freedom of Information Act request revealed that the State Department had been running Nissan Patrol Y61s as primary transport in at least 14 embassy compounds across Africa and Central Asia. The Y61 hasn't been sold in the US market since the late 1980s. The version running embassy duty today is a generation Americans have never been able to purchase, not once. Meanwhile, Nissan's American offering, the Armada, shares approximately nothing with the vehicle your tax dollars just imported to Nairobi. The Y61 runs a 3.0-liter turbo diesel that owners in Australia get 310,000 miles out of on original engines. The Armada does not do that. Nobody pretends the Armada does that. Number 3. Toyota Coaster Bus. U.S. military base transport, Pacific Theater. The Toyota Coaster is a small bus. A genuinely pleasant little bus. Quiet, smooth, seats about 20 people. On U.S. military bases in Japan, South Korea, and Okinawa, it is the daily commute vehicle for American service members. Soldiers eat at the mess, then they board a Toyota Coaster to go to work. Then they come home to a country where that bus is unavailable for civilian purchase. To be fair, there's a legitimate regulatory reason. Federal minibus certification is strict. It's just a little funny that the military, whose vehicles are exempt from many of those same standards, gets the good bus. Number 2. Toyota Hilux. SOCOM, DEA, State Department, Overseas Operations. The Toyota Hilux is the most combat-tested vehicle in the history of motorized warfare. That is not hyperbole. That is documented fact, cited by military analysts. U.S. Special Operations Command has used Hilux trucks in Afghanistan, West Africa, and beyond. The DEA runs them in South American operations. State Department security teams use them in high-threat environments. The Hilux has been photographed with American military markings, American flags, American personnel. And it has not been sold in the United States since 1995. Toyota does make a truck for this market. It's called the Tacoma. It's a fine truck, but it is heavier, more complex, and, here's the part that matters, not what SOCOM loads into a C-17 when it needs something that'll start at altitude in the Hindu Kush. They want the Hilux. We get the Tacoma. Number 1. Toyota Land Cruiser 200 Series Diesel. Every branch, every theater. In the US, the Land Cruiser 200 was sold from 2008 to 2021, but only with a gasoline V8. The diesel version, the 4.5-liter V8 turbo diesel, was never offered here. Not once. That diesel Land Cruiser is what the US military, USAID, and diplomatic security teams operate in virtually every overseas theater. It's on bases, it's in convoys, it carries the people who carry the flag. Why was it never sold to civilians? EPA diesel certification costs. Projected low sales volume. Toyota decided the math didn't work. So the federal government, the same body that sets those standards, uses fleet procurement exceptions to operate the vehicle those standards excluded. The Land Cruiser 200 diesel will hit 300,000 miles and ask what's next. The gasoline version Americans got is good, but it is a different vehicle, and everyone involved knows it. This isn't a conspiracy. Nobody's in a bunker deciding which cars Americans get to drive. What it is a gap between regulations built for consumers and procurement rules built for government. And in that gap, your tax dollars run some of the most capable vehicles ever made. The good news, the 25-year clock is ticking. Early Hiluxes clear soon. Land Cruiser 70s are arriving. The Acties are already on auction sites. The government had them first. They won't have them forever. If you want a full breakdown on what you can import right now and how, drop it in the comments. That might be the next video.